Those of us who own a small business are self-reliant. We're driven by freedom, by choice, by ownership. Small business people are optimistic, the kind of optimism that's rooted in a great idea. We can create jobs, we can create wealth, we can make the world a better place.
Small Business 2000 with Hattie Bryant.
The founders of this country were small business owners. I am convinced that every adult American has an idea for a business. We take the risk believing that this idea will work. When you have your own business, you're free to act on those ideas. So we can't just do the ordinary, we have to do the extraordinary.
Small Business 2000 is made possible by support from the U.S. Postal Service. Its 95 business centers and nearly 40,000 post offices providing smart solutions for your small and growing business. And the Edward Lowe Foundation, championing the entrepreneurial spirit by providing information, research, and education experiences which support small business people and the free enterprise system.
Hi, I'm Hattie Bryant. Every week here at Small Business 2000, we take you to meet a successful small business owner. Today, Anne Byler is the person you will meet. She, along with her 7 siblings, are teaching hundreds of people to make pretzels and serve them hot to ring up profits. This ancient, healthy treat has millions smiling when they take a bite.
We are highlighting 10 entrepreneurs.
Jill Bond is the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneurial Edge magazine. In a new edition, she includes Anne Byler's business in the list of companies on the move. John Morgo, our sales and marketing advisor, agrees with the pretzel makers. If you can get a prospect to try your product, you'll probably get a new customer. And you don't have to be in the retail business to put your product in the hands of a prospect. And Bruce Camber is here, our strategist to integrate business planning with technology. He'll show you how to research franchising in cyberspace. In our master class today, we have a leader who could not be your teacher because she doesn't have enough formal education. Where she grew up, kids left school after 8th grade. Anne Byler may have quit school early, but she never stopped learning. She is truly a master small business owner, and a master class is not taught by an academic, a guru, or a journalist. It's taught by someone who has already done what it is you want to do. So now come with me to Gap, Pennsylvania, and attend the master class led by Anne Byler.
Okay, everybody ready to go? Ready to the store?
Hi, Trey.
Every day the doors open and the cash registers ring at nearly 400 locations of Auntie Anne's Pretzels. Anne Byler has something customers want. They will purchase $112 million worth of pretzels from her this year. Her hand-rolled soft pretzels come in an assortment of flavors, including the traditional recipe with salt and this caramel almond I tried.
And you bake the almonds on the pretzel, and then you dip it into the caramel sauce. Now, I want to see you eat your first bite.
So I've never had one of these before.
Well, you're going to be pleased, I think. If you like, this is a sweet pretzel.
Of course, it smells fabulous. And this is low fat?
Isn't it great? Mm-hmm.
Low fat. Mm-hmm. The Dutch and German who settled this part of Pennsylvania have been enjoying soft pretzels for 2 centuries, but it took Jonas Byler's dream in 1988 to open a counseling center and Anne Byler's desire to fund her husband's nonprofit work to bring this delicious regional treat to the rest of the country and to the world. She's been baking since she was 8 years old, and by the time she was 12, Anne's pies and cakes were sold at the Lancaster County Farmers Market.
When I was working for this other man as a manager at his farmers market, I noticed that the pretzels were selling faster than anything else. And so I talked to him about just selling pretzels, and he's like, well, I don't think we can just, I don't think there's enough money in just pretzels. So after a few weeks or so of talking to him, I finally convinced him that, yes, let's get rid of the pizza and just 2 pretzels. And we did, and our sales continued to grow. This is my wonderful husband.
I'm Mr. Anne Anne.
You're
Jonas, Anne's husband, also grew up in the kitchen where his duties included baking breads, pies, cakes, and hand-rolled soft pretzels.
And you're the one who found the secret to make the pretzel special.
Yeah, I brought the secret ingredient. She didn't want to let me put it in at first.
See,
She didn't want me to add that, and then I did anyhow after about 3 weeks.
why were you so pushy? Why did you just keep insisting?
Well, because I knew it would work. From my experience as a kid, I was the baker in our house.
Why did you all decide that the franchise format or model was the way to grow?
That's interesting. We originally started out with a licensing agreement with a handful of people early in our business experience. Soon realized that we are becoming a franchisor, whether we realized it or not. And as we looked into where this was taking us, we realized we're full-fledged franchise and need to conform to those guidelines. And it was very good to do that.
It's a great way to do business because you don't need a lot of capital up front. You get a franchise fee, so it kind of, for us, it was just enough money to keep going.
Anne is one of 8 children, and today all of her siblings are involved in the business. Her baby brother Carl joined her in 1990 when sales were just $1 million.
One of the first things we did after I came on is we put a stop to all expansion for about 6 months, 6 to 8 months. We determined that we were expanding a little too rapidly at that point. We did not have the systems in place. We didn't have the infrastructure in place. We didn't have a lot of things in place, and we had to really buckle down and work on that. So we announced at the, it would have been January of '91, at our franchisee convention. I had the distinct privilege of announcing to all the franchisees there that we weren't expanding for at least 6 months. And a lot of upset franchisees, because at that time the concept was new, everyone was excited, which they still are, but they wanted a lot of locations. There was a lot of virgin territory. Let's develop this, and we were saying we're putting the brakes on everything. So, but it was a good move in that it did give us 6 to 8 months to really work on fine-tuning our operations.
All right. When did you decide you needed or you would use a consultant to help you do that?
Oh, I joined in August, and we met with a consultant in November. So
right
just
away,
a few months
you said,
later.
hey, let's go get some experts in here.
Yeah.
And who was it that you went to?
Went to FranCorp. It's a franchisor consultant out of Chicago.
Okay, was that a good investment?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
So if someone, let's help someone who's got, I don't know, any concepts can be franchised. What would they do? What advice would you give them? At what point in the development of their business would they move it from they own everything to, okay, let's start franchising? And would you send them to FranCorp, and would you send them to some consultant?
Well, at the appropriate time. I mean, in business, timing is everything. They have to have a viable concept. It should be profitable, but it doesn't even have to be profitable. It has to have potential to be profitable, but it has to be a viable concept. And if you go to FranCorp and say, I have an idea, they won't spend much time with you. If you go to FranCorp or any other consultant and say, I have these 3 units, I've had them for 2 years, and here's what's happening, they have something to look at. So franchising, you really have to have at least one unit under your belt and operational before any consultant will look at you seriously.
Can you pay them, though, to come look at your idea? And
sure.
If nothing happens, nothing happens. You
sure.
just pay them like you'd pay an attorney or a CPA or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so instead of just sitting on it and simmering and futzing and fretting,
yeah.
just go get some expert opinion.
They're very anxious to come out and look at your business. As a franchisor consultant, they're constantly looking for new clients. I mean, for instance, when we use them or utilize their services, we did it for about a year, and then since then we've done very, very little with them. I mean, we still have contact with them, but we don't use them.
You hired some of their people.
Oh, we did. We hired 4 of their people.
Well, it's easy to dream. And I thought at one point, wow, I can do this, and I can teach anybody how to make a pretzel or run a store. And so my husband set off on this little journey, and we did 7 stores in 1989. Well, believe it or not, 7 stores. It doesn't sound like a lot, but we were running ourselves ragged. And I began to realize that to dream is one thing, but to actually bring that dream into fruition takes an awful lot of hard work, perseverance, patience, discipline, all the things that don't come easy for most of us.
Do you write in your training manual, smile, be nice, give the customer what they want?
Yes, because I think if you put people first, then your profits will follow.
The Gap, Pennsylvania location of Auntie Anne's serves as the national training center, while additional training is done in Jacksonville, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, and Los Angeles. Every franchisee spends 8 days under the tutelage of Anne's trainers.
What are we gonna do? Sell more pretzels and have more fun!
like you doing in a place like this, rolling pretzels?
I'm having fun. I just wanted to change in my life. I wanted to do something different, and I kind of got hooked on this just by the product.
Did you get hooked personally eating the product?
Yes.
And you said, oh my gosh, these are so fabulous?
I was actually on business out in Los Angeles, and I was flying back into Philadelphia, and they routed me through Pittsburgh Airport, and I was changing planes to come back in, and I was hungry. And I had a pretzel, and I was absolutely amazed at it. That was in September. And then 2 months later, I was doing Christmas shopping in Macy's back in where I live in Yardley, Pennsylvania at the Quaker Bridge Mall. And I was getting rung up, and a gal behind the register said she couldn't wait to get off break to go get a pretzel. And I said, what are you talking about?
What kind of pretzel?
There's this new pretzel place out in the mall, and you got to go check it out. So I went out into the mall. There was Auntie Anne's store, and there was a line. And that's how I was introduced to it.
So your CPA kicked in your brain, and you said, I'm counting all these customers, and I'm counting all these pretzels.
Well, it's definitely an economically viable business, that's for sure. It's simple. It's really, and franchising works because of the structure. Everyone knows is that, most 90% of all small businesses really tend to fail in the first 5 years, whereas a statistic, I think, over 90% of all franchises succeed. And that's because of the control, the structure, and the procedures that are put into place. You know what your costs are. You know where all your labor factors should be.
Hi, I'm Bruce Camper, and I know what some of you are thinking. You're going to call Auntie Anne. But before you do, you should know this, that she gets about 500 requests for everyone that she accepts as a franchisee. So before you go and pick up the telephone, do your due diligence, because it may just be your role to develop a whole new concept of franchising. There are lots of different kinds of franchises. Ask yourself that ever-present question, what do I want to do when I grow up? Make a list of all your interests, your keenest interest at the top, and examine it closely and dig in to the web and see what exists today for franchises in that area. Let's go to the web. First, we'll check the baseline, open up the Business Basics, and type in franchise. Take a look at that third article, a franchise evaluation process. There are lots of issues there that they raise for you to look and evaluate franchises. On the 23rd article, a little bit further down, answers to the 21 most commonly asked questions about franchise. Now let's just break out into the larger web. Use one of the search engines, for example, Lycos, and type in the word franchises. It'll give you, see this? It'll give you 3,448 franchise listings. Now type in Auntie Anne's, and you'll get these references to Anne's group. Put in the word, for example, sports franchise, and here you'll see 2,319 references to read. You've got some homework to do here. There's a lot to look at. Be sure to be a little like Anne and go inside and turn on that light and know when it's time to take the leap.
For free information about starting or growing a business, give us a call, 1-800-449-9309. And come see us in cyberspace, sp2000.com. Why were you attracted to this business?
Well, number one was the product. Once we tasted the product, of course, like a lot of people, I mean, that's what's so interesting here is when somebody comes in the store for the first time and you watch and see the expression on their face.
They go, wow!
That's the first thing. But then after we researched it farther and found out the values of the company and the religious background and that just cinched it for us.
It did. There were 8 children.
There were no two alike.
Anne's mom is also an entrepreneur. She recently closed her retail quilt shop, but she still makes quilts and welcomes customers into her home.
Yeah, I'm glad that she got into this business. She gives hundreds, probably thousands of people jobs.
Did you make this pretzel?
Yeah.
Did you ever have to go to the bank for a loan because you're out on the edge too far?
Yes, we did. We did, and we went to the bank for loans, and they didn't like the amount of money that we were giving. so they wouldn't give us the loan.
You were giving away too much money.
Yes, right.
They said to you, now look, Anne, if you'd stop giving that money away, we would make you a loan.
Basically, that's what they said, yeah.
And what did you say back?
And I said, well, you don't understand, and this company was born to give. And I'm not going to give at the expense of paying my suppliers and my employees, but I'm not in the company to become wealthy. I'm in this to give money away. But anyway, we found a chicken farmer that was introduced to us, and he has given us all the money we need to this day.
Wait a minute.
So.
Wait a minute. This is somebody we would call an angel in the finance business.
Yes, he is an angel. And he would do business on a handshake if that's what we wanted to do. But
how did you find him?
A friend of ours said, gave us his name and said he's got lots of money and he likes Auntie Anne's. Maybe you should call him and see if he's interested in.
Is he close by this vicinity?
He lives in this area.
So you could go see him in person.
Oh yeah.
And you could go say, here are the financials. Here's why the banks told us no.
Oh yes.
And you did that, and he said, okay, Anne, he gave you a check for $1 million.
He didn't know me from. He didn't know who I was. I didn't know him from like a longtime friend. He was just someone that we were introduced to.
In one meeting.
Oh yeah, I believe. I'd have to.
Or maybe two.
But yeah, we talked a time or two, and.
So has it been a good investment for him?
Oh yeah, he's a wonderful man.
But I mean, he's making money.
Oh yes, of course, of course. He loans us the money. He's not part of the. He's not partnership or does not have any stock.
But he gets a percentage.
It's like my bank.
Right. He's your bank.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The chicken farmer bank.
He's wonderful.
My banker, the chicken farmer.
Yes. So there are no limitations. When you go into business, you got to look beyond the norm. The concept of giving, the power, the force behind giving. I can't explain that, but there's something wrapped into that word of giving that there's really no explanation, but I can say that it works.
The reason you start a business will guide your decisions. Anne Byler definitely started her business to make money, but wait, not to make money for herself. Her husband was interested in counseling. He wanted to donate his time to provide marriage and family counseling to his community. So she figured out a way to fund this ministry. Having the goal to give money away has attracted franchisees to her. People are drawn to a noble cause. The type of people she has recruited to work with her have the same passion to help people that she has. Because the purpose of her business is to make money to give away, when she was approached by bankers who wanted to loan her money, but who said, you're giving away too much money, Anne. We can't loan you any money with this financial statement. She had to say, of course I'm giving away money, because that's why I'm in business. If you're not happy, or if you feel unfulfilled in your work, or if you think all I'm doing is making money, then that's not a good enough reason to be in business. Stop and think a minute. Can you find something more grand?
There's some very basic things that have never changed. Going back into the early part of the 1900s, I think it takes hard work. You need to be committed, and you need to understand when you start a business, it's going to take all of your waking hours and most of your sleeping hours. And I believe that if you start your business with a purpose, and your purpose may be to give to a certain cause or whatever, do that. I think if you treat other people the way you want to be treated and put others first and yourself last, I believe that if you seek to understand and then to be understood first, seek to understand first and then to be understood is very important. I believe that you can go the second mile in business in the 90s and be successful. I think that you can take love into the workplace and make it a place where people love to come to work and enjoy each other. And people say, love in the workplace? Yeah, it works. Mm-hmm. And it's basic, it's very maybe old-fashioned, but I think without those ingredients in the workplace, I'm a firm believer that that's what will make you successful. Without it, yes, you may make money, but you won't feel the sense of satisfaction and fulfillment.
Jill Bond is editor-in-chief of Entrepreneurial Edge magazine. The upcoming cover story is about companies on the move and includes Auntie Anne's pretzels.
What I found most fascinating about Anne was she runs the company the way she wants to run the company, and she instills her personal values into her company. And I was very impressed with her sense of family, her integrity, her honesty, her willingness and desire to run a successful company, but at the same time to make sure that she was doing it in a very ethical and right way.
What is exciting to you about the future?
Oh my, we've only just begun. We've only just begun. We're fortunate that we have a product. It's a bread product. It's accepted around the world. Our international stores are doing very well. We truly think that we can expand all over the world. We're also very fortunate to have a product that you can sample.
Want to sample our cinnamon?
You can take a pretzel and cut it up into 18 pieces and sample, so you can go into a new area, whether it's Tennessee or whether it's Malaysia. You go into a new area and you get someone out in front of the store and they smell the product, they see the hand rolling, they taste the sample, and you got them.
Getting people to sample their product is a fantastic sales technique for Auntie Anne's.
You're
John
welcome.
Morgo, our sales and marketing advisor, thinks many of us can put samples in the hands of prospective customers. I get samples in the mail of products. Can a small business owner afford to do that?
I think so, and it depends on the type of business that you're in. But can you afford not to have your customer try your product before they buy it? What a sample is the opportunity for the customer to actually try it. It builds confidence, it builds trial, and it leads to increased usage. It's the same thing if you go to a car dealer and your car's a couple years old and they say test drive it, you bought it. There isn't anything like a new puppy, a new car, and it's the same with a sample. There's a lot of resistance to changing what you're doing until you try something new and you compare it. So if you get a sample in the mail, and that sample is dramatically better than the product that you have, the likelihood to use it is great.
Yes, you need to take time to build yourself up, and I've learned to do that.
What do you do?
Well, I've learned to take time off for myself. I like to travel. I mean, it's a good thing I do.
So you go to your locations?
I go to my locations, but what I do is I take an extra day or two. Instead of rushing in and rushing out, I take time when I get there and take time before I come home to kind of unwind. And I do motorcycle riding. My husband and I have my own cycle, and he has his cycle, and we take a month in the summertime and travel around to our stores.
Take a month?
Uh-huh. I'll show you how to make a pretzel,
Okay, so it's not impossible.
I would expect you to learn how after about the third pretzel.
Really? That fast?
Well, we'll just see how good you.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see.
All right.
Are
we'll
you
try.
are you teachable?
I am very teachable.
Well, then you
I'm
can do
a
this.
good student because I listen.
Okay. Well,
So how do you know how
boy.
much to take off?
Well, that just kind of happens in time. Are you going to try?
Oh, sure. I can do this part.
You
now.
can do that.
Now, is this the measurement?
no,
I
this
go
right here.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this to this whole length. Okay, I better do this. Okay, now stop it. You've had how many years of experience? And I've had 2 minutes. Give me a chance. Give me a chance.
Hey, you're just about
Give
as
me a
fast as look at
chance.
her. She's moving right along here.
Now, is it proprietary information? Whoa! It did not go on the floor. It fell on the
You're getting there.
But it didn't go on the floor. Let me measure now.
You just have a couple inches to
A few
go.
more inches to go. Am I at a race? Do we try to have this
Yeah.
in a time frame?
Yes,
Because
yes.
we have customers waiting for us.
Yes.
And also the dough's going to get drier as I fold it.
Exactly. And if you're
And this dough right here has your miracle ingredient that you
It
will tell
does,
us
it
about.
does.
I'm hoping that today sometime I'm going to ask you the right question that you'll drop it out.
I'll tell you what, I am going to hire her right on the spot. Look at this, guys. Look
Ta-da!
at this. Look at
Is that good? Was that really good? Hey!
Now, you got to do the twist.
Okay.
It's like lassoing a pole. You take this and you hold
that
this,
still.
hold it still, and then you bring this around and you're lassoing this. So just like this. And do you know what the pretzel stands for, the holes in it?
No.
This represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because these pretzels were given as little rewards when people learned how to say their prayers. And when they folded their arms like this in prayer, that's what your pretzel looks like, see?
At the farmer's market, when you were growing up and they were selling these, was it a part of the religious experience? We're going to do pretzels because that's what it makes us think of?
No.
Or did we lose that?
No, I had no idea what the pretzel meant until I saw it in the encyclopedia, in the World Book, actually, is what it was.
All right.
And it gives the history of the pretzel. And I was so excited when I found the history of the pretzel.
Was
couldn't
this
believe it.
after you had started
Oh,
this
yes,
business,
yes.
and you had started it to fund your husband's ministry,
Yes.
and then you found out it had a spiritual
Yes,
background?
exactly. And so I said, hey, with a product like this, it has to be blessed. And it truly is blessed by God. Yes. Amazing. It's part of the miracle. Isn't that something?
Next week, you will meet a young mother in Santa Monica, California, who solved a problem for her own children and lots of other kids, too.
Small Business 2000 is made possible by support from the U.S. Postal Service. Its 95 business centers and nearly 40,000 post offices providing smart solutions for your small and growing business. And the Edward Lowe Foundation, championing the entrepreneurial spirit by providing information, research, and education experiences which support small business people and the free enterprise system. For free information on starting or growing a business, call our toll-free number, 1-800-449-9309.
And to order my book, Beating the Odds, or the companion videotape, call my office at 1-504-737-0076. You have to feel if you don't do this, your life will not be complete. Learn today, earn tomorrow. Those of us who own a small business are self-reliant. We're driven by freedom, by choice, by ownership. Small business people are optimistic, the kind of optimism that's rooted in a great idea. We can create jobs, we can create wealth, we can make the world a better place.
Small Business 2000 with Hattie Bryant, the program on the new American heroes.